Well, hello and welcome back to another YouTube cast. We have got an amazing game right here. It is Sjow versus Lennock. Two Starcraft II pros going toe to toe. Or in the case of Sjow, an ex-Starcraft II pro. What a delight for the old boomers like me who remember the good old days. Am I right, boys? And Lennock starts off with an Imperial official straight away. He plays the Chinese here on the left side of Mountain Pass. On the right side, we see Sjow with the Mongols opening up, moving to the forest as per usual. And going so much on wood here indicates to me that he wants to do some early aggression. He already went out to build his Uvu. He's going to go for either a stable or a barracks off the bat here. And, thank you. And thank you, Ludi. Actually, you just ruined my cast because I now responded to you, and I need to turn off the thing for myself. We're gonna restart here. Don't worry about it. We're only a minute in, but I need to turn off the sound. That's actually very good because if this happened 35 minutes in, I'd be actually mad. All right, so we turn this off. Easy. It wouldn't be on the recording anyway, but my reaction to it would be. So. Here we go. All good. We'll restart. There's a convenient restart button. All right. Yes, this is what I wanted to illustrate. Of course. Thank you. All right. Welcome back to a YouTube Pro Player Cast. We have a very nice one here from the match history of Sjow, who's playing in the red with the Mongols on the right side of Mountain Pass against the one and only Lennock on the left side with the Chinese. Now, these are both, of course, ex-StarCraft players or current StarCraft players. And for an old boomer like me, there's nothing better than seeing those old greats come back in this game I've fallen in love with so much. And we have a very, very interesting matchup here. The Chinese, certainly still underutilized, considered a bit weak by most, but Lennock playing with the Chinese on the ladder a lot from what I've seen. And Sjow has been training up his Mongols a lot as well on stream. And we already see him go for a lot of wood off the bat, which together with the Uvu indicates to me that he will build an early barracks or stable here with the extra wood he's gathering and start very aggressively against his opponent. Of course, with the mill start here from Lennock's side and the Imperial official to boost the mill, this might be a little bit vulnerable, especially toward tower rush. Of course, you can just evacuate and mine with the TC instead, but that will deny the advantage from the Imperial official right off the bat. A tower here can certainly be constructed without being shot at from the TC and could deny it, and simultaneously deny this gold, which could be very, very painful for Lennock in the start, but we'll have to see whether Sjow even goes that aggressively. Many Mongols do not, because if you want to build a tower, you need to bring a villager very early, and that villager can get intercepted by your opponent's scout first of all, which then denies you the opportunity to really build a tower. And beside that, it has a lot of walking time, really weakening your weakening your early game. We see Sjow constructed a stable rather far away from its eventual location. I think that's a little bit risky if I'm gonna be honest, because if your opponent spots that, he can have his scout hang around your Uvu and basically deny you putting down the stable for a very long time. And he starts off with a double scout. He doesn't go for the horseman. And this, I think, has also become more and more popular with top Mongol players. Start with the scouts. They can burn buildings faster than the light horsemen. And you can combine it with the professional scouting research, which will allow them to pick up deer carcasses and bring them back home, potentially even denying them to your opponent, being able to steal them. And since you get 2 at a time anyway out of the stable, and they can fill the same role as an early horseman while being cheaper, such as harassing the workers a bit, burning buildings that are far away from the TC, which here they actually are none. The scout can do that just as well as the light horseman, so you're saving food, you're enabling a strategy for later to get a more secure food source, and it just seems all around really good. Of course, if it comes to scrim afterwards, a counter push scenario, something like that, the scouts will not serve you as well as the light horsemen, but that's somewhat unlikely anyway, I would say. 2 imperial officials before aging up here. I've not seen that one before. He has a lot on food, nothing on gold. So I guess the strategy here is to get to the next age exclusively with tax money from the buildings here that is stored within the mill and the lumber camp. So no gold, everything on food and wood. This allows him to get out an early barracks straight off the bat. It will delay his age up somewhat, but now he can already build spearmen to protect himself against the early scouts, protect buildings that are a little bit exposed, and potentially even put back some pressure on his opponent. The scouts will not fare well against spearmen. I mean, neither would have the light horsemen, but they at least pose some threat in bigger numbers. But scouts versus spearmen is a very, very one-sided matchup. He needs to build a house though. He can now age up. He uses the Barbican to somewhat secure the steer and the gold here. And he's actually not built a single spearman. And now the scouts will come in and do a little bit of light harassment. Of course, they do need forever and ever to tickle down a single worker. But still, not having a single spearman here after even getting the early barracks seems a little weird. Because why do you even get it that early then? You could have gotten more people on food then and gotten the early age up, right? But maybe he just mismatched his resources a little bit because he's lacking food right now. With 3 on food, he actually has too little constant income to even make workers constantly. Excuse me. And he's also going onto stone now. He's going onto the stone with 9 villagers. He really wants to get that stone in super fast because the building is exposed, I presume. This has also become something that's somewhat popular now. Mine that stone super fast because then you don't need to defend the mining camp anymore. You can delete it, denying even the raiding advantage to the Mongols by just deleting the building afterwards, and it makes you less vulnerable because the stone is usually, like on this map, very exposed and very open to harass. So if you can get it in early, you will not have to, face that additional risk of harassment there anymore. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sjow has also aged up. He has, of course, a very good spawn here with the gold right next to the wood, so he didn't need to make a gur at all. He's aged up with the deer stones as opposed to the silver tree. And the silver tree, of course, on this map is pretty good because once you secure the middle, this trade route across the full length of the map is pretty secure. Of course, the Mongols have some problems securing the middle because they cannot construct walls or keeps. So, especially when it's a map spawn like this with a lot of open areas, actually, it's somewhat hard. But as long as you constantly pressure your opponent, which is what the Mongols want to do most of the time anyway, you should be able to keep your trades safe. On the other hand, of course, the deer stones provide more or less a passive buff for the economy by themselves already, because they will give your YAM network the age-free tech immediately that lets your workers move 15% faster, which means, of course, that they gain some efficiency. We see a blacksmith here and an archery range. The archery range right now not being used to make the feared Mangodai, instead being used to just pump out some archers, which will, of course, do fantastically against any spearmen that have not been constructed yet. Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to drink something. So, this barrack so far by Lennock, I would say, has been a 1,000,000% bait. He hasn't even gotten the spearman upgrade yet. But he has also not gotten any other production. So far he's relying purely on those 2 town centers that he now focused out of his stone. Why is he not... you need to burn the building, you need to destroy it before there's a single point on damage on it. Otherwise, when you delete it, your opponent gets the rating anyway. He's now building a stable. That is a good response. We've seen more and more Chinese players rely on 1 or even 2 stables in the beginning of the game, and then pumping out light cap, which is not a great unit overall, but it can get the job done. And in big enough numbers, which you're often able to get in a 2 TC scenario, and especially with the boost from the Imperial official, you often can make it through that critical feudal age timing window. We now already see 10 archers out on the map for Sjow, applying pressure. He's trying to look for an angle. But that stable was simply cancelled and probably, yeah, put up somewhere else. And now he's using that single stable with the Imperial Official on it, as if it were free. The Imperial Official boosted by 200%. And look at how fast those light horsemen come out. 7 seconds per horseman. That is insane. You can almost make 10 per minute out of a single stable. If you have the resources, that is of course the big if. And there is something a little bit scary here for Lennock coming up, which is... First of all, I forgot a scout in here, but second of all, where does his next food come from, right? If we're looking around, this deer, alright, it's kind of protected by the Barbican of the Sun, but it's also exposed. Like, it's facing his opponent, and with the archers, it can probably pressure that quite well. There's some more berries up here. Those were probably the safest option. But other than that, maybe down here, huh? This is not easy to reach. Oh, is this a path? I think there's a path here. Then this is actually also pretty risky. So you'll have to figure out where does my food come from once these berries run out. They do, of course, still have quite a number of food in them, but you need to plan a little bit ahead, right? And now we see the horseman, as mentioned earlier, is already getting the upgrades. On the flip side, Sjow has already gotten both the ranged armor and the ranged attack. And how is his eco looking? And he's looking to age up. He's going for a fast castle age, which of course many Mongols have been doing recently, because there's a critical strength for the Mongols in the game right now. It has proven very decisive again and again, and has given them an insane win rate in the Genesis tournament, which is on your blacksmith. If it is next to an Uvu, you can boost certain techs, like for example the siege engineering tech, which will allow you to construct Springalds in the field. So once you hit castle age, you produce a lot of heavy infantry, a lot of men-at-arms, and a bunch of archers, and then you just build a whole bunch of Springalds in the field, way more than your opponent can bring out in the same amount of time, and then you kite him to death and overwhelm him with your always superior Springald numbers. In the meantime, we see two more stables actually being thrown up and an archery range. So he's not going to do this with men-at-arms. He's going to probably do it with knights or lancers and archers. Actually, Sjow found a way around the defensive completely unspotted, and is focusing down a couple of workers. That was at least 2. And Lennock on the other side was going out here, scouting a little bit. Where are you, Sjow? Are you not applying any pressure to me? And now the light horsemen come back, and these archers are gonna fall one by one. The ranged armor is not quite in yet, so they can still do some nice damage, but I mean, this is a basically one-to-one counter, especially at these numbers, and so Sjow's army will be decimated. He will, however, still enjoy his soon-to-be castle advantage, while Lennock is still stuck in feudal age, hasn't gone for the Song Dynasty either, but of course he's on 2 TC, while his opponent is only on 1 and hasn't gotten a marketplace to get additional traders up. We see Lennock is at 47 versus 39 workers. Of course the Mongols can still have other tricks up their sleeve as well, such as the step readout, where returned resources are plus 50, so you're gonna get a hell of a lot of gold out of this. This is actually not like 15 workers mining, this is like 22 workers mining right now, because everything returned is plus 50%. And usually at some point you want to go for some trade with the Mongols. That is not the case here yet. Yeah, you can do some things here and there to equal out the superior worker numbers of other factions, of course. Of course, the stone itself, the Uvu mechanic, also helps, since you can often produce units basically at half cost, since you will get 2 units at a time for the same cost. You can see it right here. And yeah, I guess Sjow will want to keep up with these little advantages. Lennock's worker count is meanwhile spiraling out of control. Now 10 workers ahead. Of course, with the 2 TC versus 1, that is only going to get worse and worse. And now he's also going up to Imperial Age, actually not too far behind Sjow's. And Sjow lacks infantry to actually make any siege weaponry in the field. This is why I thought people usually prefer to do this with men-at-arms, because then the men-at-arms can be used to construct the Springalds together with the archers. The cavalry, of course, cannot do so. And yeah, right now, I guess you would really want to construct some Springalds, because now the Chinese have their astronomical clock tower, which produces clock tower Springalds with plus 50% health, which is a huge deal. And if you bring an Imperial official to boost it, it actually doesn't work like one clockwork tower. It works like 3. It works like free. This is like free seat workshops that you get for free with the age up. If you boost it, and there comes the Imperial official. And I'm not even sure the Mongols can really accurately use their advantage of building Springalds in the field anymore. Because now it's just a match of resources, right? Okay, you can place down 5 Springalds here. But the Chinese can build 5 Springalds at the same time with their boosted clockwork tower. And it's gonna have plus 50% health. So now it comes much more down to resource commitment, rather than just a pure construction buff. And we see Lennock up in workers quite significantly. It's almost a 15 worker advantage right now. And approximately equal in supply. Is there... there's wood lacking for Sjow as well. He has a lot of stone saved up. I wonder what he's gonna do with that. Maybe he can boost out some double units right now to get a bigger army out. But he's stealing the deer, of course. This is a nice food source for the foreseeable future, but it will eventually run out. Well, the deer here have already gone. This one is still alive. So he can still keep doing this for some time. Yeah, deer stones have been relocated. And another thing that I'm really missing from Sjow here actually is, where are the scout towers? Don't you want your speed aura, like, around the place and really keep tabs on your opponent? You cannot, of course, make walls as the Mongols. So your main tool to a certain map presence is that network of towers and your army movement just being superior to your opponents, because you always know where he's going, so you can react with more complete information than your opponent. What is this? Some knights being sacrificed in here for some reason. A little bit weird. I must have forgotten about these, like bad hotkey or something. He goes in under the Barbican and starts focusing down workers. And this is already very efficient, I would say. He now has to back down against the superior Springald count of his opponent. And fighting here under the Barbican of the Sun with 5-6 Springalds in the back. This is not a good idea. He has to pull out of here. Otherwise, he's going to lose a lot of units starting very quickly now. He did, of course, kill a whole bunch of workers, which allows him to maybe close the economic gap a little bit. But he's still 15 workers behind. In the meantime, still no towers coming out. I wonder what the philosophy is there for Sjow. Why no network of towers? Very interesting, very interesting. In the meantime, clear Springald superiority for the Chinese here, for Lennock. Only 1 Springald for Sjow now, actually. He's constructing some in the field, but I really don't know how he's gonna try and hope to match this. I mean, they all have plus 50% health, and as long as Lennock just keeps reducing, which actually is not right now, he's never gonna catch up again, simply because of how the resources work out. He actually doesn't finish the Springald here. And here we go. He brings out a keep. Of course, he will have to defend this, and this might be an overextension right now. Lennock a little bit too confident, I think. He's very far down in army supply, and he doesn't really have any scouting cap. He didn't have a scout come out and see where the army is. And I think he's gonna have to cancel this castle for sure, and he might lose all of those workers. This was almost 10 workers. Already 3 or 4 down, being chased down by the heavy cav. They're gonna have to pull back, of course, now, with the Springalds moving up. And he doesn't want to expose his own Springalds. And the keep was cancelled. This was pretty painful. Lennock maybe overestimating how far ahead he is in this game. Because in army, he's down by quite a lot. He's like down 50% actually. And that castle was very far away from his base. Maybe if it was positioned a little bit less ambitiously somewhere here, he could have defended it more easily. But he wanted to get that stone. He wanted to secure the open space here between the 2 sides of the mountain pass. But that hasn't worked out at all. He also didn't send down any workers here yet to maybe build a little palisade or something. There's 4 horsemen waiting down here by the golden berries for an opportunity, maybe for Lennock to send down some unescorted workers, but it's not happening for now. In the meantime, Lennock is moving up to this goal now, building a more secure castle up front. And there's a ram here now with 3 Springalds behind it. And now Lennock has 8 Springalds. Of course, without anchor points, without units to defend their front line, the Springalds aren't all that good. But there is a Barbican of the Sun here. This castle is probably not gonna go up. Already, not a few workers lost. The Springalds are engaging. But here, Lennock is clumped. He's blocking himself. And now the Springalds of Sjow are starting to pick off Springalds from Lennock's side, even though they were numerically at such a huge disadvantage. The front line is melting for Lennock right now, but the Springalds dish out the damage regardless. So many workers have gone down, however. I'm not sure whether this is good or bad for Lennock right now. At least he's trading out the army. What's coming up for his opponent? Actually, nothing really being produced right now. This is all he has to defend right now. And the archers, of course, will have huge problems taking down these Springalds with their with the range damage. It does almost nothing to siege weapons. And now Sjow has to retreat. Lennock defended himself. Is gonna get up his defensive castle, but he finds himself at 33 workers. The 4 knights came in here into the wood economy and completely cleaned Lennock out and into the food. 30 workers against 61. Wow. Wow, we thought the main battle was going up down here. But, up here, but down here. Lennock just lost his entire economy to 4 knights. Insane. Insane. Now, I think Sjow should age up to Imperial and finish his opponent off with bombers. Of course, he doesn't know. He doesn't quite know how much he killed. But he probably has a fair estimation. And so I think continuing with these Springalds right now could potentially end in disaster, since the Springalds of, Lennock are the only thing really strong in this army or in this position right now anymore, and might allow him to trade favorably against the Springald attacks of Sjow, while Sjow has such a superior economy that he could just go Imperial now, build bombards, and by the time Lennock has his worker count up to a reasonable number again, the game will be over, because bombards will knock down every single building in a few seconds. Okay. Lennock recovering, already up to 40 workers again. Did he ever get the Song Dynasty? No, he did not. And right now is, of course, a hard time to get anything. His resources are very scarce. And he's gonna try to use just a ball of Springalds behind his defensive buildings, the castle, the keep, and the Barbican of the Sun. Oh, why'd you spawn it out on this side? No! Monk, no! Oh, the humanity. The humanity. Should have spawned it out, of course, here and then walked it around the long way. This is, of course, very nice attempt by Lennock to maybe get back into the economic game a little bit. Get those relics, maybe get the holy side, get that extra gold ticking, you know, anything to equal out the resource income a little bit. And actually, Sjow overcommits. Sjow overcommits, loses a Springald. I don't think he got one in return. And is building a bunch more, though. This is 13 right now for Lennock, and here we have 9 for Sjow. Of course, Lennox have 50% more health since they all came out of the astronomical clock tower. And it's looking rough for Lennock. It's looking very rough. But I think Sjow's approach right now is look at the dancing Springald. Nice. Sjow's approach right now is not making much sense to me, because he tries to overwhelm Lennock in the one capacity that he actually still has something somewhat competitive, right? In the Springald count. Just pure Springald count. Or maybe like this, though. And with some sitting AFK up here. Okay, the big Springald battles are starting. Sjow is retreating. Loses another one on the retreat, but gets out of there. Ooh. His army is significantly bigger. He's moving up the deer stones further. Maybe if he had like a trebuchet or something to at least put some pressure onto this keep all the while. But like this, I don't know. Lennock, of course, also doesn't have all his Springalds at the front. I'm not entirely sure why. Because, I mean, he needs them to trade favorably, right? And amazing Springald battles here. I think so far this has still been a good trade for Lennock. There's some really hurt ones here for Sjow. And yeah, this was definitely a good trade for Lennock. This was definitely a good trade for him. And yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, Imagine even if all of the resources of the Springalds had just been 20 extra knights. Could have probably just A-moved in here. Lennock now getting some extra stone again. Maybe wants to build another castle to secure the southern flank just a little bit more. Now he's getting the relic. And on the flip side, Sjow, of course, would also have the opportunity to go for some relics. He's in Castle Age, and if he has the multitasking for it, he could put down a monastery building whenever he wants and start collecting the relics, not only to get the gold himself, but maybe even more importantly to deny the income to Lennock, who needs these extra little things to equal the economy out a little more again. And, you know, Sjow just not taking this opportunity right now. He, of course, has endless gold from his 30 workers on the step readout on gold. But he's also not getting up a market, which I don't really like, because if you have such a decisive advantage, I feel like it really helps to set up those late game economy things, like a market, like getting the relics. Because like this, you deny your opponent really the venue for coming back, right? Because eventually, maybe, I don't know whether this game will go there, the gold on the map will run out, and then, you know, you're gonna have to transition into market, and that gives your opponent an opportunity to maybe come back. A little time window is all they often need. And yeah, I don't understand why not just get, for example, a shaman tent right now and start gobbling up the relics. I guess it's just an APM thing. Actually gets to keep further up north. Really fortifying the countryside here, and this will deny this northern path into his base pretty much completely. Down in the south, he built a stone wall, securing the southern flank. And Lennock is starting to look a little bit more safe again. Of course, he's not actually that far down in food anymore. And these trades with the Springalds have been so successful for him that despite being down 30 workers, he still managed to keep up. I mean, of course, Sjow has 5k gold in the bank. I mean, at this point, why not just buy 2k food and place down the age up building, right? Does he have a market? He does not have a market at all. I don't know. Sjow seems a little bit unconcentrated here. He's trying to win it with the Springalds, with brute force, but the Chinese Springalds just have more HP. It's the one thing that he's superior in right now, and he just keeps making sub-ideal trades, non-ideal trades, and now there's a keep locking off the northern side of the map. New gold for the Chinese, another relic secured. On the south side there's a wall. There will not be another night run by like before. He's kept up in upgrades. There's a big Springald force. There's some front line again as well. And now it's anyone's game again. Now it's anyone's game again. Maybe... I mean, if it weren't for the 5k gold in Sjow's bank, I would say Lennock is even looking better. I mean, he's at 70 workers now. Sjow stopped at 60. He just stopped flatlining. There's some more again. Yeah, at least he's moving his woodworkers now to a more efficient location again. And now he's getting up some scout towers. But again, not across the map. Like, I don't understand. Why not get scout towers around map? And actually, see, like, he had so much opportunity to put scout towers everywhere. And now, this enables Lennock to sneakily steal a relic from his opponent's side of the map. Very nice. Very nice play here by Lennock. And of course, Sjow opening up these venues for his opponent to come back. Lennock actually had a lot of supply right now. The one thing that super surprises me is that he didn't go up to Song Dynasty at some point here. And at this point, you might as well skip it, I guess, because he's approaching worker saturation anyway fairly quickly. And you could just go straight to Yuan to get the Fire Lancers and the Granary if you so choose. Or you could also just skip them all and go straight to Ming for the 10% unit health. And of course, the Grenadier. The thing is just, well, you can't go straight to Ming. You would need to go Imperial first. But I meant go for Imperial and then later. Just skip all the dynasties. Still has a secure relic up here for himself. 2 now already in his monastery. 1 more on his side of the map, but behind enemy lines. And 1 more. Yeah, this is protected by the knights here, but very nice place here by Lennock. I'm enjoying it a lot. in the meantime on Sjow's side of the map. Oh, some light cav harass by Lennock, trying to get back at his opponent a little bit. Now he's starting to make some towers around the place, but nothing is directly at the gold, so he just runs his workers away while some lancers come in to intercept the light horsemen and kill them off. But still, Lennock crawling his way back a little bit into this match, finding some venues to also put a little bit of pressure back onto his opponent, force him to waste some more time. And in the meantime, Sjow is building up a huge army that he probably plans to end the game with. This stone exposed, he loses a few more workers. But there's one ram. How many Springalds? 13 Springalds, 2 rams. And there's a keep up here, there's a keep up here, which will probably not really engage in the fight. And he's just building another keep next to the stone, as Lennock sports 16 Springalds to the 13 of Sjow. And remember, the 16 Springalds here all have 50% additional health. He used the all army hotkey, that's why the monk was pulled away. And now Lennock can actually age up to Imperial. And we all know one thing for sure. Chinese Imperial Age is scary. It's really scary. They have very, very strong gunpowder units, but maybe even more than that, it's super scary if they get to Ming Dynasty and get out the Grenadiers, because Grenadiers are absolutely insane. They're absolutely crazy. There we go, he's bringing back the relic. And of course in the Ming Dynasty, of course, this doesn't become that relevant so often, but you can get the pagoda and generate a whole bunch of resources with that as well. Monk's moving out. Of course, he will run into the knight here and die, but he's trying to get more of the relics in. Sjow still not having any of that. No shaman tent or anything like this. No marketplace either. And now he's trying to engage into 3 castles up here. 3 castles all firing down. Of course, both sides have their Springalds in place. Ram coming through, getting shot at from all sides already. And there the spearmen might even connect to the rams, could burn them down. Now the Springalds need to engage each other. Yes, they're both making sure that the Springalds are in range of each other so that they don't shoot at useless units rather than at the enemy Springald backline. And who's gonna win this match of the Springalds? The keep is nearly down. It doesn't have boiling oil, so the melee units under here or even the archers are safe. And it looks like Sjow is getting absolutely demolished in the Springald battle. There's still 11 left for Lennock, which will now shoot away at this army, completely demolishing it. And castle, the keep is still being repaired. It might go down though, but it's not a big deal. There's another one right behind it for the Springalds to retreat to. And now this extremely expensive army of Sjow is dead. And even though he had this game in his hands, he now finds himself down both in army and in workers. 80 workers for Lennock here versus the 66 of Sjow. Meanwhile, also Lennock secured himself 3 relics already. Sjow doesn't even have a shaman tent. And he also didn't set up any trade. No trade. And now he's on the back foot. His opponent sports 13 Springalds versus his only 4. And not going for the next stage. Oh no, he already went. This is the Spirit Way. Imperial versus Castle now as well. This game has completely turned around. What a banger of a match. Sjow really maybe a bit too secure in his victory and giving his opponent time to recover, then engaging once his opponent has a really nice defensive setup and trusting too much in the Springald instead of choosing to pursue other venues to victory, maybe locking down his advantage, maybe just brute forcing his way. But I think with Springalds, that's not the way, especially not against the keep defense. And now he has a bunch of stables all around the Spirit Way, which indicates to me that he's going to go up to Yuan Dynasty and get a whole bunch of Fire Lancers. And these Fire Lancers, let me tell you, they can be very annoying. They deal extra damage to they deal extra damage to buildings and siege engines, and the charge deals an area damage. So there you go. They are the perfect answer to Springalds. And of course, if you have a big enough mass, you can go around the map and just focus down your opponent's landmarks. Maybe that doesn't really work with the Mongols, since you can pack up your landmark and, you know, run it away. But but at that point, that's also pretty rough. If you have to run away your landmarks from a horde of what are called Fire Lancers. Alright, and now we see Lennock at 92 workers versus Sjow's 68. He now is building workers again, not so assured in his victory anymore. He continues spamming the Springalds, but he is an age disadvantage, which of course also allows... Yeah, there we go already. The Springald upgrade to come in for the already stronger Springalds of Lennock. And so, I would say now this game is Lennock's to lose. He's bringing out some bombards and running out his army a bit, I presume. Probably going up to Yuan Dynasty somewhere. Yeah, there we go. This is the one that lets you reveal your opponent's workers, the Imperial Palace. And once he has that, I assume he will spam out a crazy amount of fire lances. If you're wondering why he built them around the Spirit Way, the Spirit Way's special ability is that buildings near this landmark produce dynasty units at minus 30% cost, which is of course amazing. Minus 30% is crazy. And if you're gonna build a lot out of these stables, then that definitely pays off. Sorry. And I personally like to get a lot of archery ranges around the Spirit Way and then go straight for the Ming Dynasty and spam out the Grenadiers since they are so ridiculously good. But the Fire Lances can be used just as well to close out games, and there we see them lined up. They might also boost them with his Imperial officials, get out a huge army in basically no time at all. And this relic is still sitting here as well. Does he actually hold 4 relics right now? No, this one is still up here as well. And Sjow kind of struggling to keep up. Is he coming anywhere near the next stage? Yeah, he can buy the resources right now if he wants to and has a marketplace. Does he have a marketplace? He does not have a marketplace. In Imperial, of course, there is a venue to come back for the Mongols with their upgraded Springald improvement. But I think once there's a bunch of bombards on the field, that doesn't really cut it anymore either. At least not on a map like this, where you can have some wider engagement angles, some wider spaces. In very narrow maps like on, let's say, Black Forest, that can, you know, basically only Springalds can work. But where there's wide open engagement possibilities, I feel like the only Springald thing doesn't really work. Bunch of light horsemen here. No, these are the Fire Lancers actually. They look like exactly the same, man. They look exactly the same. Is that even the same model? What the heck? And now Lennock securing his flanks with additional stone walls. And trying to harass his opponent a little bit around the map. The Khaganate Palace coming out. Okay. Okay. This one, of course, automatically spawns a cavalry army every 90 seconds. And he's gonna need that. He's gonna need that cavalry army. As the Fire Lancers now start their harassment runs, they're looking for the resource outposts of Sjow. There are none down here, so they're not gonna find anything. They might find the blacksmith though. And actually a group of Fire Lancers has already found the working Uvu and burnt down the siege workshop, despite being attacked by heavy knights here. And a group of pikemen is cleaning up these towers around the map. All in all, Lennock in a commanding position. We're waiting for the final blow. He's at 100 workers, pretty much like saturated. And he's now building a bunch of bombards out of here. He's already got the bombard upgrade as well. How his upgrades looking in general? He's got all the melee upgrades and quite a bunch, almost all of the ranged armor. Now getting a range attack as well. Let's see the Springald count. 15 for Sjow. And where are the Springalds of... here. 13 for Lennock, so he's not really built anymore, but the Fire Lancers are gonna take care of it fairly easily, I would say, as he's still skirting around the map to find a way. Whose is this right now? Oh, this is actually Sjow's? I didn't even see him build a shaman tent, so that's why I'm a bit confused. And as we all know, in the replays, the colors are sometimes messed up. So, yeah, there we go. But it is Sjow's, and he leaves one unit behind to neutralize the sacred site, of course. He has secured his own to get that extra gold out there, and I really think this is just up to Lennock to now deliver a final blow here. This wall is actually not close, as we can see. The workers and the cav just ran through here. In the south, Oh, a bunch of archers now catching up to these fire lances. I have no idea, no estimation how these fire lances will do against an archer blob. I mean, it's 15 against 15-ish. Oh my god, what the fuck? Dude, what the hell? They just evaporated. I've never seen the charge tech before. I don't think I've ever seen that. That was insane. How does it look against armored units? Do they also just disappear like that? Wow. Wow, actually, you know, going for the holy side now as well. He's gonna get himself the holy victory ticking. And he gets another advanced castle down here. Really starting to put the herd onto Sjow, moving on his side of the map very safely. I mean, if it was very, very safely, it would keep here first and then another one out. But yeah, he has the stone to do what he wants. He is maxed out now. He has 6 bombers in here, together with the fire lances coming. Oh no! Oh no! The workers! Oh no! Oh no! Ah, this was a massive war crime has been committed here. Oh my god! Oh wow! Now I see why people go for the fire lancers. Oh god, that they burst down the knights as well. Oh my god. Fire lancers are insane with their charge tech. How many workers was that? Like 30? Oh my god. Oh my god. That's GG right there. And now his army rolls in. GG, well played to Lennock. And I hope you enjoyed this cast. If you did, why don't you like, comment, and subscribe? And we'll see each other again for the next cast. Bye bye.